episode of Comics Review. I'm your host, Kevin Starkey. The first comic I want to review today is Fantastic Four, issue number 587 from Marvel. And this is the issue where one of the Fantastic Four dies. And before I go any further, I'm not going to spoil it. So if you're worried about that, then don't worry, because I won't tell you which one of them dies. But basically, the story, there was some lead up to it with some other issues. Reed Richards is off on another planet trying to sort of rescue the people there. Galactus is there destroying the planet. Sue Richards is with Namor, the undersea guy. She's doing some like it's like a diplomatic mission or something. She's trying to find peace between Namor and some other people. And then at the Baxter building, you have Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm, and they're dealing with the kids, and all these aliens are coming through this zero thing, whatever it is. And so basically it jumps between these three stories, and everyone's in danger, and you don't know who's gonna be the one that, I mean, it's basically leading up to the last page, which reveals who's gonna die. I wasn't a huge fan of the artwork in here. The writing's very good. The storytelling is good. I like the way they go between the different stories and drag you along and keep you guessing. But the artwork, the people's faces, I just thought it was very weak. I didn't like it at all. The coloring's fine. And the story's really good. I enjoyed it. I like the way that they lead up to, which one of them is going to die, the situation surrounding that. It's really good. Definitely, if you're a fan of good storytelling, I would definitely grab it. Don't expect the artwork to be wonderful. The cover's a lot better than what's inside. The next comic I want to review is Twilight Guardian. This is issue number 1 from Top Cow. Someone suggested I check this one out, and I'm glad they did because it's very good. I want to read the inside cover, a little blurb here real quick. In a quiet neighborhood, suburban neighborhood, a woman dons a mask and a hooded sweatshirt and goes on a nightly patrol of a 9 square block radius. Possessing no unique or extraordinary abilities and armed only with a roll of quarters, she relentlessly monitors her neighborhood to keep it safe. She is like so many others looking for meaning in the mundane. But what if she's right? What if something is terribly, terribly wrong? And what if only the Twilight Guardian can protect us? And basically what this seems to be about is a girl, I guess she's a young woman, who dresses up and goes out in her neighborhood. And she psychs herself up for it by reading comic books. She picks a comic book from her collection, reads it before she gets dressed up and goes out. And I got the impression that this girl is a little bit on the crazy side. She talks about having meds that she stopped taking. Her mom, she's telling her mom that she's still taking them or whatever. And I just feel that she's a little bit nuts, and but not in a scary, weird way, but just sort of maybe like obsessive compulsive, like, I've got to keep doing this sort of thing. But she falls asleep. Like one night she goes out and she falls asleep on some ledge, and she makes a sandwich to take with her, and she's, it's very odd, but it's really good. And I'm guessing that there's going to be well, they talk about in here that there's going to be some bad guy, and people are disappearing. Her ex-boyfriend disappeared, and it's a neat story. It's definitely something that I would like. So I'm glad it was suggested to me. Definitely, sort of a crime genre, I guess. It's pretty good. Check it out. Definitely pick that one up. The next one I want to talk about is Zombies vs. Robots. This is Undercity. This is number 1, but this is like it says 100 penny press, classic first issues for only $1. And I had collected Zombies vs. Robots Adventure, a little series that was out a while ago, last year. And I liked it, but this apparently came out before that. It explains sort of how these zombies got into our world and how the robots are involved in that. There's this portal that these scientists have worked on, and one of them decides to go through. It's like their funding is going to be cut off. They need to start showing some results, something like that. And at this place where these it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at Kirtland Underground Munitions Storage Complex, New Mexico. Oh, I guess it's not Albuquerque. And they have all these robots that they've developed there for like war, for the army or whatever. And so one of these guys goes through, and he doesn't make it. And then another one decides, I'm going to dress up like a robot, which that seems kind of strange, but he puts on this big robot, I don't know, outfit or whatever you'd call it, and goes through the portal. So he leaves that one guy left there. And on the other side, there's all these zombies. And the robots, the scientist that's left, he's like, I got to get these robots ready. We got to be prepared. And then they sort of take him out. And yeah, there it is there. So then it sort of just ends there with like the zombies and the robots coming through. This one guy comes through with the robots coming through and the zombies on his back coming through the portal into our world. So basically ends there. But then I also picked up this, which is Infestation #1. I guess it's #1 by IDW. This is a series that's going to span 4 different comics that IDW publishes. Real quick there, the Transformers, which I'm not a collector of, Star Trek, which I don't collect, but I like Star Trek, G.I. Joe, and Ghostbusters. They're all going to have this story, interspersed throughout all those series. And what this comic is about is there's a group called the CVO. They're the Covert Vampiric Operations. It's a bunch of people who are vampires who get called into, and it's actually related to this comic, the munitions storage complex, underground munitions storage complex in New Mexico. It like takes place soon after this issue where zombies have come through, killed people, and they've put up a barrier or whatever on this portal to hold them back and prevent them from coming through. And what happens is the zombies bust through the portal, the barrier or whatever that they tried to establish there didn't work. And so in this issue, the vampires get called in, and their job is to go out there and take care of this situation. And so they get out there, and apparently these zombies are being controlled by something called a undermind or something like that. Because one of the vampires starts to act like the zombies, biting people, and here's some of the robots. It's a cool comic. I'm probably not gonna follow it, but it was kind of a neat premise. The artwork's okay in here. It's nothing spectacular, but part of me wants to maybe collect the issues just to sort of follow it and see what they're gonna do with it. So I may do that. I'm not sure yet, but basically they're telling you in the end here that so this is kind of a spoiler, I guess, but these zombies are going to try to get through and figure out how to open up more portals to other worlds, and that's how they're going to get into these other series, the Transformers and Star Trek and Ghostbusters series. So it's kind of neat. I would say, if you're not overly excited about it, you might want to avoid it, but it's kind of cool. The cover's really nice artwork. The inside's not quite as good. The next comic, oh no, that was it, I guess. That was the last one. One other thing I wanted to mention. I had talked about this comic. It's a graphic novel. FVZA, Federal Vampire and Zombie Agency. This is by Radical. And I just finished this, and I'll just briefly say it's very good. It's kind of similar to some of the stuff there. There's an agency that existed in the past in here. And they were fighting zombies and vampires, and it was a U.S. agency, and it was disbanded because in the 70s they had basically wiped them mostly out, and a man who was in charge of this agency decides to train his two grandchildren, a grandson and a granddaughter, in how to fight these guys in case they ever get called back to do so, and they do, and it's neat. It's a good story. Has a good ending, and they sort of leave it a little bit open at the end so that there could potentially be more. So highly recommended. Great artwork in here. Try to find something that's cool. Radical, they always have really good stuff. Looks like paintings. Really good stuff. So highly recommend that. And then here, I'll go through real quick the other comics that I got this week. Walking Dead Weekly #4. This is Star Wars Darth Vader and the Lost Command, issue #1. That just came out. I read that one. That's actually quite a good series. Artifacts. This is #5 of 13. It's kind of a neat series. I read that one too. American Vampire. This is issue 11, I think. Yeah, 11. I haven't read that one yet. That's a good series. That was my favorite series from last year. Darkness #3 of 4. That's kind of a neat. That's the Four Horsemen. That's kind of a neat series. This is RPM #2 from 12 Gauge Comics. It's kind of a neat one. Good art in that. The Sixth Gun. This is issue #8. That's a really good series, Western type series with some supernatural stuff in it. And Skull Kickers. This is issue #5, and that's a neat series. Kind of funny. And that's it for this week. Please leave a comment here on YouTube or over on my blog at twodognight.net. Let me know what you're reading this week. Have you read any of the comics I talked about here today? And I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.